What if I told you that something you're eating right now at your gate could turn your next flight into the most miserable 4 to 12 hours of your life? Not an exaggeration. The foods you choose before and during a flight can completely determine whether you land refreshed and ready to explore, or you sprint off the plane searching desperately for the nearest restroom. Today, we're breaking down 10 foods you should never eat on a plane, what they actually do to your body at altitude, and what you should be eating instead. Because flying is already stressful enough without your stomach staging a full rebellion at 35,000 feet. Let's get into it. Number 1 on our list is gas-producing foods, and this is the one that surprises people the most because these are often the healthiest options on the menu. Beans, lentils, broccoli, cauliflower, chickpeas, high-fiber protein bars loaded with sugar alcohols. On the ground, these are genuinely great food choices. In a pressurized aircraft cabin, they become something else entirely. Here is the science behind why. When a plane reaches cruising altitude, the cabin pressure inside is actually equivalent to sitting at roughly 6,000 to 8,000 feet above sea level. At that reduced pressure, gas expands. Any gas already sitting in your digestive system literally grows in volume as the plane climbs. So that healthy veggie wrap you grabbed at the terminal, the one packed with roasted broccoli and black beans, it starts fermenting inside you as digestion simultaneously slows down because your body is now prioritizing oxygen delivery and circulation over efficient gut function. The result is that awful, trapped, bloated feeling where you're stuck in a middle seat wondering why your stomach feels like it might actually pop. The smart swap here is simple carbohydrates that are gentle on your gut. Plain white rice, a basic turkey wrap, rice crackers, a peanut butter and banana sandwich. Nothing dramatic, nothing that requires your digestive system to work overtime while it's already operating at a disadvantage. Number 2 is super salty snacks. And yes, we are specifically talking about those tiny free pretzels airlines hand out like confetti. They seem harmless. They are not. Here is what is happening inside that cabin that makes salt such a problem. The humidity level inside an aircraft can drop as low as 10 to 20% during flight. That is significantly drier than most desert environments. Your body is constantly losing moisture just through the act of breathing. At the same time, your sense of taste is actually dulled in a pressurized environment, which means you crave more salt and sugar to get the same flavor satisfaction you would have on the ground. So when you eat salty pretzels, chips, or roasted peanuts in that already dehydrating environment, sodium starts pulling water into your tissues. You retain fluid, you feel puffy and swollen. Your rings feel tighter, your shoes feel smaller by landing. Your thirst signals get confused, so you actually drink less water even though you desperately need more. Headaches set in, it spirals fast. The better options are unsalted nuts, homemade trail mix without added sodium, fresh fruit, or lightly seasoned snacks that give you flavor without the aggressive salt load your body cannot handle mid-flight. Number 3 is alcohol and carbonated drinks. And before you defend your sky-high gin and tonic, let me explain what is actually happening in your body when you drink at altitude. First, carbonation physically expands in your stomach at reduced cabin pressure. Those bubbles increase internal pressure and contribute directly to bloating and discomfort. Second, alcohol is a diuretic, meaning it actively increases urination and pulls water from your tissues. You are already in a severely dehydrating environment. Alcohol accelerates that process dramatically. Third, because oxygen levels in the cabin are lower than at sea level, your body processes alcohol differently than it does on the ground. One drink in the air can genuinely feel like 2 drinks in a normal environment. And then there is the Bloody Mary situation. Tomato juice actually tastes better in the air because the cabin environment enhances umami flavors, which is why airlines have always championed it. But that classic in-flight mix is packed with sodium, and now you have combined a diuretic with a sodium bomb in an already dehydrating pressurized tube. If you want to drink, keep it to 1 drink maximum. Match every alcoholic beverage with a full glass of water, and stop drinking at least 2 hours before landing. Sparkling water with lime gives you that same festive feeling without any of the consequences. Number 4 is heavy greasy meals, and this one is a trap so many travelers fall into because the airport burger and fries feels like a reward before a long journey. The problem is that fatty foods already take a long time to digest under normal circumstances. At altitude, where cabin pressure slows gastric emptying, you are essentially placing a very heavy brick in your stomach and asking it to sit there for the next 6 to 12 hours. The consequences are brutal. Acid reflux that makes sleeping impossible. Bloating that makes your waistband feel like a punishment. That specific foggy sluggishness that makes makes the hours feel twice as long, and unlike on the ground, you cannot walk it off. You are seated in a confined space, traveling at over 500 miles per hour. The fix is straightforward. Choose grilled protein over fried, pick simple rice bowls, lean turkey wraps, or light sandwiches without heavy cream sauces. If you are selecting the airline meal, always go for the lighter option. That creamy pasta sounds comforting at 35,000 feet and becomes a problem somewhere over the ocean. Number 5 is airport sushi and questionable raw foods. Listen, airports have genuinely improved their food options over the years. Some terminals have incredible restaurants, but raw fish sitting in a refrigerated display case is a gamble you should not be taking before a long flight, and here is exactly why. Raw or undercooked seafood always carries some level of bacterial risk. Under normal circumstances, your immune system handles minor exposures without drama, but travel already stresses your body in multiple ways. You are dehydrated, you are breathing recycled air, your sleep schedule is disrupted, your immune defenses are not operating at their full capacity. Airport sushi also often sits in those display cases for extended periods, and even small temperature fluctuations during restocking or transport can give bacteria room to multiply. Now picture mild food poisoning while seated 14 rows from the nearest lavatory during turbulence with a seatbelt sign illuminated. There is also the soy sauce problem. A single small packet can contain close to half your daily recommended sodium intake. If you want protein that travels well, pre-cooked chicken strips, a turkey sandwich, or something that has been prepared fresh and sealed properly are all significantly safer bets. Number 6 is excessive dairy and sugary treats, and this combination is sneakier than it looks. Here is what airlines and airport bakeries know that most passengers do not. Cabin pressure dulls your ability to taste sweetness and saltiness by up to 30%. So when a cinnamon roll or a caramel coffee drink tastes as sweet as it normally would on the ground, you have actually consumed significantly more sugar than you realized because the product has been engineered to compensate for that dulled perception. Now add dairy to that equation. Lactose digestion requires specific enzymes that function best when your digestive system is moving efficiently. At altitude, digestion slows. Dairy sits and ferments longer than it normally would. And remember, gas expands by roughly 25% at cruising altitude. The combination of high sugar intake causing a spike and crash cycle, plus dairy fermenting in a sluggish digestive environment, plus that gas expansion effect is a reliably uncomfortable experience. Stick to Greek yogurt if you need dairy, since it is lower in lactose and higher in protein. Choose dark chocolate squares over frosted pastries. Fresh fruit handles both the sweetness craving and the hydration need simultaneously. Number 7 is strong-smelling foods, and this one is less about what happens inside your body and more about what happens inside the cabin around you. Garlic-heavy leftovers, tuna salad, blue cheese, hard-boiled eggs open mid-flight. Aircraft do use filtration systems, but air in the cabin circulates in cycles, and odors linger far longer than you might expect in that enclosed space. Here is the interesting science behind it. Cabin humidity drops so low that nasal passages dry out, which actually blunts our ability to detect subtle scents. But here is the counterintuitive part. While we lose sensitivity to mild odors, pungent and heavy smells cut straight through that dry air and become virtually the only thing anyone can detect for hours. Strong food smells also trigger discomfort and nausea in passengers who are already sensitive to motion or pressure changes. There is even a safety consideration most people never think about. Cabin crews are trained to detect fume events, and certain food odors, particularly aged cheeses or sulfur-heavy foods, can mimic the smell of electrical issues or engine anomalies, causing unnecessary alarm in an already high-alert environment. A simple test before packing food for a flight is to ask yourself whether you would comfortably eat that item in a small meeting room with 30 strangers seated shoulder to shoulder. If the answer is no, leave it at home. Number 8 is artificial sweeteners and sugar-free products, and this is the one that catches health-conscious travelers completely off guard. Sugar-free gum, diet sodas, protein bars, sweetened with sorbitol, xylitol, or mannitol. These sugar alcohols are well documented for causing significant gas and digestive distress even under normal conditions at sea level. They are not fully absorbed by the small intestine, and they ferment in the large intestine, producing gas as a byproduct. Now take that process, place it in a reduced pressure environment where gas expands by roughly 25%, and you have a recipe for genuine abdominal discomfort that can last for hours. Check the labels on your snacks and protein bars before packing them. If sugar alcohols appear prominently in the ingredients list, save them for after landing. and diet soda compounds this further by combining artificial sweeteners with carbonation, delivering a double impact that your digestive system does not need at altitude. If you want gum for ear pressure during takeoff, chew it briefly and dispose of it before the cabin levels out. Number 9 is excessive caffeine, and this one gets a pass because most people genuinely cannot imagine skipping their pre-flight coffee, but the quantity matters enormously here. Caffeine is a mild diuretic, meaning it increases urination and speeds up the rate at which your body loses fluid. In a cabin environment where you are already losing moisture with every single breath you exhale, adding a large coffee or multiple energy drinks accelerates dehydration in a way that compounds every other discomfort on this list. You feel more fatigued, your skin feels more irritated, your headache risk increases, and caffeine also affects sleep quality in ways that matter specifically for long-haul flights. If you are hoping to sleep through a red eye, significant caffeine intake works directly against that goal. One moderate coffee is fine for most people. The problem is the large triple-shot airport drink grabbed in a rush before boarding, followed by accepting every cup of coffee the beverage cart offers during the flight. Match every caffeinated drink with at least one full glass of water and cut off caffeine intake at least 4 hours before you want to sleep on the plane. Number 10 is fast food eaten immediately before boarding, and this is different from the heavy, greasy meals category because the specific timing is the issue here. Even if you choose something relatively balanced, eating a large meal in the final 15 to 30 minutes before boarding and then immediately sitting motionless in a compressed seat for hours creates a digestion problem that compounds with everything else happening at altitude. Your body needs movement and time to begin processing a larger meal. When you bolt down food at the gate and immediately settle into a cramped seat in a pressurized cabin, that food sits heavily in your digestive system with nowhere to go. If the food also happens to be from a fast food restaurant with high sodium, high fat content, or significant portion size, every negative effect is amplified. The better approach is to eat your larger meal at least 90 minutes before your boarding time. Give your body a head start on processing it. Then bring a light snack for the flight itself so you are not hungry mid-journey without options. Now let us talk about what you should actually be doing instead, because avoiding these 10 foods is only half the strategy. The other half is building a simple in-flight routine that leaves you landing feeling like a functional human being rather than a crumpled disaster. Hydration is genuinely the most powerful tool in your flying arsenal. Cabin air is brutally dry, often dropping below 15% humidity during cruise. Every exhale pulls moisture from your body. Dehydration is what causes the fogginess, the headaches, the puffiness, the mysterious fatigue that everyone attributes to jet lag but is often just fluid loss. Bring a 1-liter refillable bottle from home, fill it after security, and aim to drink roughly 8 ounces every hour you are in the air. You will use the restroom more frequently, which is actually beneficial because movement promotes circulation and reduces the risk of swelling in your legs during long flights. For longer journeys, one low-sugar electrolyte packet can help your body retain fluid more effectively without loading up on sodium. When it comes to snack selection, the framework is simple. Unsalted nuts and seeds provide healthy fat and protein without sodium bloat. Fresh fruit handles sweetness while also contributing water content to your hydration. Crunchy vegetables like carrots, snap peas, or cucumber slices give you satisfying texture with gentle fiber. A turkey wrap or grilled chicken sandwich covers your protein needs cleanly. Dark chocolate squares if you want something indulgent. Notice that nothing on that list requires your digestive system to perform heroics. The goal is fuel that supports your body through a mildly stressful physical experience, not a complicated meal that demands significant digestive resources your body cannot spare at altitude. Meal timing is the final piece that most travelers completely overlook. Eating a heavy meal right before boarding and then sitting motionless for 6 hours is the wrong approach. Eat light before boarding. Have a small balanced snack 1 to 2 hours into the flight. If it is a long journey, try to align your eating schedule with your destination time zone because your digestive rhythm is one of the primary biological signals your body uses to reset its internal clock. For overnight flights specifically, eating light and prioritizing sleep over a full airline dinner dramatically reduces how rough you feel on arrival. Your body does not just need time to adjust across time zones, it needs your digestive patterns to shift as well. Here is the complete 10-item summary. Gas-producing foods including beans, lentils, and cruciferous vegetables cause painful bloating due to gas expansion at altitude. Salty snacks accelerate dehydration and cause fluid retention in an already dry environment. Alcohol and carbonated drinks combine diuretic effects with physical gas expansion to create compounding discomfort. Heavy, greasy meals overwhelm a digestive system that is already operating in slow motion at altitude. Airport sushi and raw foods present bacterial risks to an immune system that is already compromised by travel stress. Excessive dairy combined with sugar causes fermentation and blood sugar crashes in a sluggish digestive environment. Strong-smelling foods create discomfort for everyone around you in a small enclosed space with recirculating air. Artificial sweeteners and sugar-free products produce gas through fermentation that expands dramatically in low-pressure conditions. Excessive caffeine accelerates dehydration and disrupts sleep quality during exactly the flights where rest matters most. And large meals eaten immediately before boarding compound every altitude-related digestive problem by adding volume to a system with no room to work. What you choose to eat on a flight is one of the most controllable variables of your entire travel experience. You cannot choose the turbulence. You cannot choose your seatmates. You cannot choose whether the person in front of you reclines their seat the entire flight, but you can choose not to put your body through unnecessary stress during an experience that is already demanding enough. The difference between landing bloated, dehydrated, and exhausted versus landing clear-headed and ready to actually enjoy your destination comes down almost entirely to these decisions. Drop in the comments below the worst thing you have ever eaten on a flight and how it went for you. I have a feeling we are all going to learn something from each other in there. If you got value from this video, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss our next breakdown. I have a video coming up that pairs perfectly with this one and will help you take your travel comfort to the next level. Click that next. Safe travels, and remember, the adventure you planned deserves a you who actually feels good enough to enjoy it.